Hey everyone, this is an update to my Joplin Paragraph Extractor. I've made some updates that allow you now to refresh extracted notes. And if you haven't learned anything about this or haven't heard about the extractor, I have a previous video which you should watch first before doing this. So in this version, in this new version 1.2 and greater, you now have the ability to refresh extracted notes. And if you followed me in the previous video, you saw that I would select some notes to extract paragraphs based on their keywords. So here are the three notes that we had before about stars. And you can see I have the project outlined here. I'm going to use the keyword project, these two paragraphs in the second note, and then a couple of bullets in the third note. So let's go through and just show how refresh works. And now you'll see as the menu comes up, we now have a new menu item called refresh extracted paragraphs note. But let's extract something first. So it's called project. This is going to be a project about astronomy. So let's just extract those paragraphs. And you can see now that it extracted the project paragraph from Discovery of White Stars, this particular one. And then it extracted the diagram and a paragraph from the second note, and then some of the bullets from the third note based on those settings. So now I have the option if I make a change. So let's do this. Let's say I want to go back to that paragraph and I'm really interested in highlighting a particular part of the sentence. So let's just say I'm going to highlight this. So add that highlight in, and now I will come to the extracted note and I'll actually will refresh this. Now the first thing it's going to say to me is this will overwrite any changes. So now if I had made changes in the extracted note, it's going to overwrite that. But let's go ahead. So now you see it's refreshed. So it refreshed the note. It added the actual highlight to that first paragraph that it got extracted. Now one of the things you'll see is appended at the end of the note is the actual metadata for the refresh. And this is important because this contains all the settings, the keyword, the actual list of notes of what's going to get extracted. So that when I do a refresh here, that's the information it uses to refresh. But one of the things to note is that if I shift into the rich text editor, you'll see here that since it is a comment, it's not visible. However, there's a problem with the rich text editor is that if I make any changes to the actual extracted note, so if I do something like if I say, let's change that to surfaces, and then I jump back into Markdown mode, you'll see that the refresh metadata is gone. And this is a problem with the rich text editor. However, there is a solution for that. One of the things you can do if you go back into settings, at the very bottom of the paragraph extractor settings, you can see I can enable rich text editor compatibility. And what this does is basically turn off the comment and turn it into basically just quoted text. So let me turn it on. Let me extract the notes again because we lost the refresh data when I moved from the rich text editor to Markdown mode. And now we've recreated that refresh metadata, and now you can see it within the rich text editor. Now I know that makes it visible on the screen for you, and that may be a problem for some. If that is, then you may not want to do the refresh, but at least makes it compatible with the rich text editor. And if you want, you could turn that on and off based on whatever your preferences are. A couple things to call out. One is you can only refresh one note at a time, and this is because each note has a list of source notes that it's refreshing from, and that would create quite a loop of notes to refresh. So we're only going to allow one note at a time. The other thing to call out is this is an overwrite mode, and I'm showing an example of this in those to-do examples from the last video. So it's not merging text. So if you make a change in the source notes and you make changes in the extracted note and you want to refresh that extracted note, your extracted note is going to get overwritten. So if you're making updates in the extracted note, make sure you make a copy of that or a version of that or something before you refresh. And the warning does come up to tell you that it will get overwritten. So that's it for the update on the paragraph extractor. I hope that helps you. I think it's really useful to have the refresh option, especially if you're making changes to source notes and you need updates and you want to have that recompiled back into an extracted note. So Take care. Hope you enjoy it. Thanks.